The starcruiser shook as another blast hit its shields. Lisa Carter gripped her console and tried to keep the failing ship on course. The Vexari raiders had ambushed them at the edge of the Centauri system, and her crew was down to just her and 2 others. Lisa checked the distress beacon again. It was working, but help would take hours to arrive. She glanced at the oxygen readings and frowned. They had less than 40 minutes before life support failed completely. Behind her, Grace Wu worked frantically on the weapon systems. Her dark hair was matted with sweat as she rerouted power from non-essential systems. Nicole Porter tended to the wounded crew members in the small medical bay, but 3 had already died from their injuries. Mission was supposed to be simple. Deliver scientific equipment to the research outpost on Proxima Centauri B and return to Earth. No one expected to encounter the Vexari, a species humans had only heard rumors about from other alien traders. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. A new ship had entered the area. It was neither human nor Vexari in design. Its sleek purple hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Lisa held her breath. Could this be another enemy? Their weapons were almost depleted, and the shields were at 12%. They could not survive another attack. The alien vessel positioned itself between the human ship and the raiders. 3 brilliant beams of emerald energy shot from its forward section. The Vexari ships scattered, but one was too slow. The beam cut through its shields like they were nothing. The comm system crackled to life. A feminine voice spoke in heavily accented English. Attention, human vessel. Stand by for assistance. We will engage hostile forces. The human. Survivors watched in amazement as the mysterious ship drove off the remaining raiders with a display of technology, far beyond anything they had seen before. The alien vessel moved with impossible grace, firing weapons that seemed to bend space itself. When the last raider jumped away, the alien ship transmitted again. This time a visual accompanied the audio. The being on screen had violet skin with iridescent scales along her temples and jawline. Her eyes were large, completely golden, with no visible pupils. Her head was crowned with what looked like crystalline structures that caught the light and refracted it in mesmerizing patterns. My name is Zalia, First Commander of the Lyrian Protectorate. We monitored your distress call. We have similar enemies in the Vexari. Lisa straightened her uniform and faced the screen. Thank you, Commander Zalia. I am Captain Lisa Carter of the Earth Alliance. My ship and crew owe you our lives. The alien commander studied Lisa for a moment. We detect critical damage to your vessel and life support systems. Your species requires oxygen. Yes, Lisa nodded. We have about 30 minutes before our systems fail completely. Permission to dock with your vessel. Captain, we can offer repair assistance and medical aid for your wounded minutes later. Lisa and her remaining crew members stood in the airlock as it cycled open. The air that rushed in smelled like cinnamon and ozone, strange but breathable. 3 Lyrians waited on the other side. All female, all with the same violet skin and crystalline crowns, though their heights and builds varied considerably. The tallest stepped forward. I am Zalia, she said. Her voice had a musical quality in person, like each word was part of a greater melody. These are my officers Tella, our chief engineer, and Mira, our medical specialist. Lisa introduced Grace and Nicole, then followed as the aliens led them deeper into their ship. The interior was even more impressive than the exterior. Corridors curved organically, lit by panels that glowed with soft blue light. The walls seemed almost alive with subtle shifts in color and texture. Your wounded will receive care, Zalia said. We have studied human physiology enough to provide basic treatment. They reached what appeared to be a medical bay, but unlike any Lisa had seen, the beds seemed to hover above the floor without any visible supports. Various devices hung from the ceiling, moving independently, as if they knew where they needed to be. Nicole looked uneasy as the injured crew members were transferred to the alien medical equipment. Is this safe? She whispered to Lisa. Before the captain could answer, Zalia spoke. We understand your concern. Your people and ours are different, but the fundamental principles of medicine are universal. We will heal, not harm. Grace remained by the door, her hand still near her weapon. Watching their ship seemed to have an all-female crew. Members of different heights and builds moved efficiently through the corridors. Some had blue skin rather than violet, and their crystal crowns varied in complexity. Zalia noticed Grace's alertness. "You observe well." Security officer: "Yes? Our crew is entirely female. The Lyrian protectorate vessels are always crewed thus. It is our way." Male Lyrians serve in other capacities. As they walked to what Zalia called the command center, Lisa learned that the Lyrians had been monitoring this sector of space for Vexari activity. The raiders had been attacking ships from multiple species, stealing technology and resources. The Vexari are scavengers. Zalia explained. They take what they cannot create themselves. They particularly target developing species who have just achieved interstellar travel. Your Earth Alliance is young, barely 50 years into star travel. That makes you a prime target. The command center was a circular room with what appeared to be a three-dimensional map of the surrounding star systems floating in the center. Lyrian crew members worked at stations that seemed to meld with their crystalline headpieces. "Your ship requires extensive repairs," Celia said after consulting with Tella. "Approximately 14 hours. The Vexari may return with reinforcements before then. We offer sanctuary aboard our vessel until repairs are complete." Lisa looked at her crew members. Grace remained suspicious, but Nicole nodded encouragingly. "Thank you," Lisa said, studying the alien commander curiously. "May I ask why you chose to help us? Our species have never met before." Today Zalia tilted her head slightly. The crystalline structures caught the light, creating rainbow patterns on the wall. "In our culture, those who travel the void are connected by its vastness. We do not leave others to die among the stars. The universe has enough darkness without adding to it by refusing to help those in need." The humans were shown to guest quarters that had been hastily adapted for their physiology. Nicole examined everything with open curiosity, while Grace remained cautious, keeping one hand near her sidearm. The rooms were spacious, with curved walls that seemed to glow with a soft amber light. The furniture looked like it had grown from the floor rather than being placed there. Lisa sat on what appeared to be a bed, though it conformed to her body in a way no Earth mattress ever had. Grace paced the room, checking corners and examining the single entrance. "I don't trust them," Grace said quietly. "They appeared too conveniently, and why would they help us?" Nicole, who was touching the wall with fascination, turned around. "Not everyone has an agenda, Grace. Sometimes people just help each other." Lisa considered both perspectives. They did arrive just when we needed them, but the Vexari are apparently known to them. They could have been patrolling for raiders. Their technology is clearly advanced. They have no need to trick us. A chime sounded and a panel in the wall slid open. A Lyrian with pale blue skin stood there. Her crystal crown was smaller than Zalia's, but still caught the light beautifully. "The first commander requests your presence at the evening meal if you feel rested enough." Lisa accepted the invitation, and after some hesitation, Grace and Nicole agreed to accompany her. They followed the blue-skinned Lyrian through corridors that seemed to shift and change subtly, as if the ship itself was alive. They arrived at what must have been the dining area. A long table that appeared to be made from some type of crystal dominated the center of the room. Around it sat several Lyrians, including Commander Zalia, who stood. When the humans entered, Zalia gestured to empty seats beside her. "Our chef has prepared food compatible with human biology. We analyzed samples from your ship stores." The meal was unlike anything Lisa had tasted before. Fruits that changed flavor with each bite, vegetables that seemed to shimmer in the light, and a protein source that had the texture of the finest steak, but came from no animal. The humans recognized. During the meal, Lisa learned more about the Lyrians. They were an ancient species with colonies across multiple star systems. They valued art and science equally, believing both were necessary for a civilization to thrive. Their society was structured around what Zalia called castes, though the system seemed more fluid than the term suggested on Earth. "The crystals on our heads," Zalia explained, touching her own impressive crown. "These grow throughout our lives. They reflect our accomplishments and our roles within society. They are both biological and mineral, unique to each Lyrian grace. who had relaxed slightly, asked, "What about males?" "You mentioned they serve in other roles, Mira." The medical officer answered, "Males are highly respected as nurturers and creators. They tend our homeworlds, gardens, art centers, and young. They rarely travel far from our core systems. Their crystal formations grow inward rather than outward, giving them enhanced empathic abilities." After the meal, Zalia personally guided Lisa through the ship. Its organic curves and bioluminescent lighting were unlike any human design. The crew, all female, nodded respectfully as they passed. "We have existed as a spacefaring species for over 20,000 of your Earth years," Zalia said as they walked. The crystalline structures on her head gently chimed when she moved her head. "This ship is considered quite new. Barely 5 centuries old," Lisa tried not to show her shock. 500 years old. The oldest human vessels were barely 50 and considered outdated after 20. "Your ship is amazing," Lisa commented. "The technology seems so advanced." Zalia made a gesture that might have been the equivalent of a smile. "Our species has traveled the stars for millennia. Your people are young, yet showing remarkable progress. We have observed your development with interest." They reached what appeared to be an observation deck. The transparent ceiling revealed a breathtaking view of stars and nebulae. Lisa gasped at the beauty. "The universe is vast," Zalia said quietly. "Yet life finds a way to exist even in the most inhospitable places. The Vexari believe this gives them the right to take from others to ensure their own survival. We believe differently, that all life has purpose and value." Lisa studied the alien commander in the starlight. "Why are you telling me this?" Jalia turned her golden eyes toward Lisa. "The Vexari attack was not random. Captain, they have been watching your colony on Proxima for some time. We believe they plan something larger, perhaps against Earth itself." Lisa's heart raced. "What? Why didn't you tell me this immediately?" "We need to warn Earthtella our engineer is extracting data from the Vexari ship we disabled," Zalia said calmly. "Once we have confirmation, we will share everything, but I wanted you to understand us first, to know that we come as friends." Back in their quarters, Lisa shared this disturbing information with Grace and Nicole. "I knew it." Grace said. Her hand went to her weapon. "They have an agenda after all." "Maybe," Lisa said, "but not necessarily against us. If the Vexari are targeting developing species, the Lyrians might see an alliance with humans as beneficial." Nicole, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, spoke up. "Did you notice how they look at us? When they think we're not watching, they seem almost in awe." Lisa had noticed the Lyrian crew members watched the humans with a mixture of curiosity and something that seemed like respect. But why? The next day, while their ship underwent repairs, Lisa requested access to the Lyrian database to learn more about both their allies and the Vexari. Zalia approved without hesitation. What Lisa discovered stunned her. The Lyrians had extensive records on Earth going back centuries. They had observed human development from a distance following a strict, non-interference protocol. But what truly shocked her was a section on genetic compatibility studies. Nicole, who had medical training, helped her interpret the data. "They're saying that humans and Lyrians share certain genetic markers that were somehow related species despite evolving on planets light years apart. The data suggested that ancient Lyrians might have visited Earth thousands of years ago, leaving a genetic imprint on early humans. But there was more. The Lyrians believed humans possessed untapped potential for abilities similar to their own." Grace scoffed at the idea, but Nicole seemed thoughtful. "It would explain their interest in us and why their medical technology works on humans." Later that day, Tella the engineer requested Lisa's help with analyzing the Vexari data. The human captain followed her to a laboratory where the disabled Raider's computer core had been connected to Lyrian systems. Tella pointed to symbols on a screen. "These are coordinates. Near your Mars colony, the Vexari have a hidden base there, observing Earth transmissions." Lisa felt cold fear. "We need to warn Earth immediately," Tella nodded. "But there is more. The Vexari fear something about humans, something they call the awakening. Their leader believes your species must be controlled before you fully evolve. Before Lisa could ask what that meant, alarms blared throughout the ship. The human captain followed Tella as they ran to the command center. Sensors detect a Vexari battle group approaching 12 ships, including a dreadnought, said one of the Lyrian officers. Her crystalline crown pulsed with red light. We must leave immediately, Zalia ordered. Then she turned to Lisa. Your ship is functional but cannot outrun them. The Lyrian commander hesitated for a moment, then made a decision that would change the course of both their species. Come with us, Lisa. We can take you to our homeworld until it is safe. The data you discovered must be delivered to your leaders, but we cannot outrun that fleet with your vessel. In tow, Lisa shook her head. We have to warn Earth directly. The Vexari now know our ship design. They could track us back to human space. I have to return. Zalia studied Lisa with those golden eyes. For the first time, the alien commander looked uncertain. Then I will go with you, the Lyrian said, surprising everyone, including her own crew. My vessel can match the Vexari in battle. I will escort you to your territory. The second-in-command protested first. Commander, this violates our directive of limited intervention. Zalia silenced her with a gesture. The directive allows for exceptions when a developing species faces extinction-level threats. The Vexari plan qualifies. It is decided. The Lyrian commander looked at Lisa Carter with newfound respect. The stars have brought our paths together. Perhaps this is the beginning of something greater than both our species, as preparations were made for departure. Lisa returned to her ship with Grace and Nicole. The repairs were almost complete, thanks to the advanced Lyrian technology. Grace inspected the weapon systems, which had been not only repaired, but subtly enhanced. They gave us upgrades, Grace said. Examining the tactical console, shields are 30% more efficient, and the pulse cannons have been recalibrated for better penetration against Vexari. Armor, Nicole reported similar improvements to the medical bay. Lyrian tech integrated seamlessly with human systems. The aliens clearly understood Earth technology better than humans had realized. Lisa sat in the captain's chair and activated the newly repaired communications array. She needed to send a message to Earth Command warning them about the Vexari threat. But as she began recording, a priority alert came through. Captain Carter, this is Admiral Rivera. We've lost contact with Mars colony. All communications ceased 6 hours ago. We're detecting unknown energy signatures in orbit. We need all available ships to return immediately. Lisa felt a chill. The Vexari had already begun their move against humanity. But how could she get past the approaching battle group? A soft chime announced Zalia's arrival on the bridge. The Lyrian commander had exchanged her ceremonial attire for what appeared to be combat armor. Her crystalline crown now connected to a sleek helmet that left her face visible. You received news, Zalia said. It was not a question. Lisa nodded. Mars colony has gone silent. Unknown ships in orbit. It has begun sooner than we anticipated. Zalia touched a control on her wrist and a holographic display appeared above the human ship's command console. The Vexari battle group will intercept us in 20 minutes. But I have a plan. The plan was audacious. The human ship would hide in the sensor shadow of the Lyrian vessel, using its advanced stealth technology. Once they reached the edge of the Vexari formation, the Lyrians would create a distraction, allowing the smaller human ship to slip through and make a run for Earth. Tella arrived carrying what looked like silver headbands. These will allow us to maintain communication when we separate, the engineer explained as she distributed them to the human crew. They also enhance neural processing. You will need quicker reactions to evade Vexari interceptors. Grace looked at the device suspiciously. What exactly will this do to our brains? Tella made the Lyrian gesture that resembled a smile. Nothing, permanent security officer. It merely activates neural pathways already present in humans but typically dormant. Consider it like your adrenaline, but more focused. Nicole was the first to put hers on. The medical officer gasped as the band adjusted to fit her head perfectly. Oh, she said. Everything seems clearer somehow. Colors are more vivid. After some hesitation, Grace and Lisa followed suit. The sensation was strange but not unpleasant. Lisa felt as if her thoughts were moving faster, connections forming more quickly. It was like being fully awake for the first time. Zalia watched with interest. "The awakening begins," she murmured so quietly that Lisa barely heard it. Then louder. "We must prepare. The Vexari will not expect two species fighting as one." The Lyrian commander returned to her ship while the humans completed final preparations. Lisa studied the tactical displays. The Vexari formation was impressive, designed to trap and overwhelm. Their dreadnought at the center was massive, nearly a kilometer in length, as they approached the Vexari fleet hiding in the sensor shadow of the Lyrian vessel. Lisa felt strangely calm. The neural enhancer seemed to help her process fear without being paralyzed by it. She could see possibilities and probabilities with unusual clarity. Salius' voice came through the neural link. "The fleet has detected my ship but not yours. We will engage on my mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Lyrian ship suddenly accelerated straight toward the center of the Vexari formation, its weapons firing in complex patterns that seemed to predict where enemy vessels would move. Vexari ships broke formation to engage the lone attacker. Now Captain Zalia commanded Lisa push the engines to maximum. The human ship slipped through the gap in the Vexari line, but 3 smaller raiders broke off to pursue. Grace fired the enhanced weapons. The first raider exploded as the recalibrated pulse cannons found a weakness in its shields. The second veered away, but the third kept coming, evasive maneuvers. Lisa ordered, the ship responded, more quickly than she expected. The neural enhancer seemed to connect her more directly to the ship's systems. She could almost feel the vessel as an extension of her own body. Nicole monitored the Lyrian battle from the science station. "They're drawing the dreadnought away from our vector," she reported. "But there's heavy fire. 607. Vexari ships concentrating on Zalius." Lisa wanted to turn back to help their allies, but the mission had to come first. Earth needed warning. The human ship pushed toward the jump point that would take them to the Sol system. Just before they entered the jump, a massive energy surge registered on their sensors. The Vexari dreadnought had fired its main weapon at the Lyrian ship. Salius' vessel took the hit. Its shields flared brilliant blue but held. The Lyrian commander's voice came through the neural link, strained but determined. "Go, we will follow when we can. The coordinates for the Mars base are in your computer. Hurry." The jump disoriented Lisa, more than usual. The neural enhancer amplified the sensation of being stretched across space and time. When they emerged near the outskirts of the Sol system, she needed a moment to reorient herself. Grace was the first to recover, sensors active. She reported multiple contacts near Mars' unknown configuration, but energy signatures match what the Lyrians showed us. Definitely Vexari. Nicole pulled up the astronomical data from the ship's computer. The Mars colony went silent, almost 12 hours. "Go," she said. "No communication since then. But I'm detecting life signs on the surface. The colonists may still be alive." Lisa had to make a decision. Try to reach Earth directly or investigate Mars. Whatever was happening at the colony might provide crucial intelligence about the Vexari plans. "Captain Carter, this is Earth Command." Admiral Rivera's voice came through the comms. "We detect your approach and 3 unknown vessels on intercept course from Mars. Orbit. Identify and report status." Lisa opened a channel. "Admiral, this is Captain Carter of the Starlight. We have critical intelligence on an alien threat called the Vexari. They've established a base on Mars and are planning an attack on Earth. We encountered them in the Proxima system, and were assisted by another alien species, the Lyrians, who are friendly to humanity." There was a long pause before Rivera responded. "Captain, your ship disappeared from our sensors 4 days ago. We feared you lost. The situation here has deteriorated. Mars colony is not just silent, it's under occupation. Unknown vessels have taken positions around the planet. We've been preparing for possible hostile action." "Sir," Lisa said, "we have data on Vexari weaknesses and tactical information. The aliens who helped us, the Lyrians, should be arriving soon to assist." A warning alarm cut her off. Grace shouted, "Incoming missiles. 608. Vexari interceptors closing. Fast from Mars orbit evasive action, Lisa ordered Earth Command were under attack. Request immediate assistance. The neural enhancer helped Lisa anticipate the Vexari attack patterns. The ship twisted and turned, avoiding most of the incoming fire. But they were outnumbered. The shields took hit after hit, power levels dropping rapidly. Grace fired the enhanced weapons, destroying 2 interceptors, but more kept coming. The Vexari seemed determined to prevent them from reaching Earth. Lisa, we can't outrun them all, Grace said as another blast rocked the ship shields at 40%. We need to make a stand or find cover. Nicole pointed at the tactical display. The moons of Mars. We could use Phobos for cover. There's a human research outpost there. It might have defenses. It was their best option. Lisa adjusted course, sending the ship into a steep dive toward the small, misshapen moon. The Vexari followed, firing continuously. One blast hit the engines, reducing their power by half. The ship shuddered as Lisa pushed it beyond safe limits. We're not going to make it, Grace said grimly as the sensors showed the Vexari closing in. Suddenly, the space behind them lit up with familiar emerald energy beams. 3 Vexari ships exploded as the Lyrian vessel dropped out of jump space directly in their midst. Xalia's voice came through the neural link. Captain Carter, we will handle these pursuers. Continue to Earth. The Vexari dreadnought is damaged but still operational. It follows us. Make haste. The Lyrian ship moved with impossible grace, inserting itself between the human vessel and the remaining Vexari. Its weapons created a barrier of energy that the interceptors could not penetrate. With the Vexari distracted, Lisa pushed her damaged ship toward Earth. They were still several hours away at their reduced speed, but now they had a chance. Nicole monitored communications and picking up transmissions from Mars' surface. She said, human voices, they sound like prisoners, but they're alive. The Vexari are holding them, not killing them. That fits with what we learned, Grace said. They want to study us, maybe because of what the Lyrians called the awakening. The neural enhancers hummed softly against their temples. Lisa felt strange connections forming. In her mind, she could almost sense Grace and Nicole at a level beyond normal human awareness. A faint presence of Xalia lingered as well, despite the distance. Captain, I'm detecting unusual brain activity in all of us, Nicole said, examining her medical scanner. The enhancers are stimulating specific regions, accelerating neural growth. The changes are subtle but significant. Is it dangerous? Lisa asked. Nicole shook her head. Not harmful, but definitely transformative. It's almost like our brains are being rewired to handle more information, process it differently. Lyrian brains must work this way naturally. Earth Command hailed them again. Captain Carter, our long-range sensors show you've engaged hostile forces. We have dispatched a defense fleet to your position. ETA 40 minutes report. Your status. Lisa updated Admiral Rivera on everything that had happened. Their encounter with the Vexari, the rescue by the Lyrians, and the discovery of the Vexari base on Mars. She transmitted the tactical data they had gathered. You say these Lyrians are fighting alongside you now? Rivera asked, skepticism clear in his voice. How convenient they appeared just when needed. What do they want in return? Nothing, sir, Lisa replied. They believe the Vexari represent a threat to all developing species. They have evidence suggesting ancient connections between our species. Grace interrupted. Captain, massive energy signature detected. A Vexari dreadnought just emerged from behind Mars. It's launching fighters and a direct course for Earth. Lisa checked the tactical display. The dreadnought was enormous, far larger than any human vessel. Its escort of smaller craft formed a protective screen around it, and behind them, the Lyrian ship battled remaining interceptors. Admiral Rivera, we have a Vexari dreadnought on approach to Earth, Lisa reported. Its capabilities far exceed our defense fleet. You need to prepare planetary defenses. Earth began broadcasting on all frequencies. Attention, unknown vessels. This is Earth Command. You have engaged in hostile actions against human outposts and vessels. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The response came not in words but in actions. The dreadnought launched a barrage of energy weapons toward the approaching Earth. Defense fleet 4 human ships exploded before they could even engage. The others scattered, trying to regroup. Lisa pushed her damaged vessel to join the battle, though she knew one small ship would make little difference against the dreadnought. Still, they had the enhanced weapons and shields, and the neural enhancers were continuing to affect them. In ways she didn't fully understand, Nicole gasped, suddenly, looking at her console. Captain Im, detecting unusual energy building within us. The neural enhancers are drawing power from somewhere. She looked up with wide eyes from us. Before Lisa could respond, Zalia's voice came through their link, more urgent than before. Captain Carter, the Vexari, fear humans, for good reason. You possess abilities, dormant within your genetic code. The enhancers are merely awakening what already exists. The Vexari know this. They have seen it before in other species. What abilities? Lisa asked. But even as she spoke, she felt something stirring within her mind. A connection not just to her crew, but somehow to the ship itself. The neural pathways felt like they were opening, expanding trust. What you feel? Zalia said. The Lyrians went through this evolution millions of years ago. Your species carries the same potential. Focus your thoughts together. The dreadnought had broken through the Earth defense fleet. It positioned itself for a direct strike on the planet. Below, millions of people had no idea that their fate hung in the balance. Lisa looked at Grace and Nicole. The three women shared a moment of understanding. Then, without words, they joined hands. The neural enhancers glowed brighter. Their minds connected in ways that transcended normal human consciousness. Lisa felt her awareness expand beyond the confines of her body, beyond the ship. She could sense the Vexari vessels, their energy systems, their weaknesses. She could feel the fear driving them, the desperate need to stop human development before it was too late. Captain, I don't know how, but I can see the dreadnought's power, Matrix, Grace whispered. Its configuration, it's based on stolen technology. They don't fully understand it. There are vulnerabilities. Nicole nodded. I can see them too. The radiation shielding around their main reactor, its incomplete concentrated energy could penetrate it. The Earth fleet continued to engage the smaller Vexari vessels, but the dreadnought pressed on untouched. Its main weapon began charging for what would clearly be a devastating strike. Zalia's ship broke through the Vexari screen, racing toward the dreadnought, firing continuously, but its weapons barely scratched the massive vessel's shields. We have one chance, Lisa said, feeling certainty flow through the neural connection. Focus with me, target the reactor shielding. The three women concentrated their thoughts. The neural enhancers grew hot against their skin. The ship's weapon systems responded strangely, power levels rising beyond their specifications. Energy seemed to flow from the women themselves into the ship's systems. Fire, Grace said quietly. A beam of pure white energy, unlike anything the ship had ever produced before, lanced out from the human vessel. It sliced through space, a perfect line connecting them to the dreadnought. The beam passed through the massive ship's shields as if they weren't there, penetrating directly to the reactor core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the dreadnought shuddered. A series of explosions cascaded along its length. The mighty vessel broke apart, its destruction lighting up the space around Earth like a new sun. Lisa, Grace, and Nicole collapsed in their seats, physically drained. The neural enhancers dimmed, returning to their dormant state. The ship drifted, power systems temporarily overloaded by whatever energy had just channeled through them. The remaining Vexari vessels scattered, some jumping away, others surrendering to the Earth fleet. The battle ended as suddenly as it had begun. Earth Command hailed them. Captain Carter, what in God's name did you just do? Lisa struggled to find words to explain what had happened. How could she describe an experience she barely understood herself? The neural enhancement, the awakening of abilities the Lyrians had known, were dormant in humans. Zalia's ship approached the human vessel. The Lyrian commander requested permission to address Earth Command directly. Admiral Rivera. This is First Commander Zalia of the Lyrian Protectorate. What you witnessed was the first manifestation of abilities your species carries within its genetic code, abilities the Vexari sought to eliminate before they could develop. There was a long silence. Then Rivera asked, why help us? What's your interest in humanity? Lisa could almost hear the smile in Zalia's voice as she replied, "Because long ago, our peoples shared a common ancestor. The same source seeded both our worlds with life. Your evolution took a different path, but the potential remained today." Captain Carter and her crew demonstrated what humans will become, given time 1 week later. Lisa stood in the Earth Alliance headquarters briefing room. She, Nicole, and Grace had undergone extensive medical testing. The neural enhancers had been removed, but the changes they initiated remained. Their brains showed new neural pathways, increased activity in regions previously considered dormant in humans. Admiral Rivera studied the three women with a mixture of awe and concern. "You say these abilities can be developed in all humans, given time and training?" "Yes," Nicole answered. "The Lyrians believe we all have this potential. Their enhancers merely accelerated what would have happened naturally over generations." "And what exactly can you do?" Grace added. "We're still discovering the limits." She gestured at a coffee cup on the table. It rose smoothly into the air, hovering, perfectly steady. "It's like our thoughts can directly affect energy and matter. The Lyrians call it mind-weaving." Lisa had demonstrated similar abilities. The connection to technology was her strength. She could interface with the ship's systems directly, with her mind sensing its status, influencing its operations without physical controls. A delegation of Lyrians had established temporary quarters in Earth orbit. Commander Zalia had become the first official ambassador from her people to humanity. Their presence had caused global excitement and controversy. Some viewed the Lyrians as saviors. Others questioned their motives. The revelation that humans carried dormant abilities similar to these advanced aliens had sparked religious debates, scientific inquiry, and military interest in equal measure. Lisa watched through the window as Zalia's shuttle descended toward the landing pad. The Lyrian commander had requested a private meeting with her before they entered the briefing with Earth Alliance leadership. Zalia wore her ceremonial attire, her crystalline crown more elaborate than Lisa had seen before. The Lyrian approached with that graceful fluid movement that still fascinated the human captain. "Captain Carter," the commander said, inclining her head. "My people are pleased with how events have unfolded. The alliance between our species marks the beginning of a new era. For both." Lisa smiled, but kept her thoughts guarded. The neural connection had taught her much about the Lyrians, including their tendency to plan in terms of centuries rather than years. "Why didn't you tell us everything from the beginning?" Lisa asked. "The genetic connection, the abilities you knew we had. Why wait until we were in crisis?" Zalia's golden eyes studied her. "Would you have believed me without experiencing it yourself? Some truths must be demonstrated, not merely told. And there is the matter of your species' independence. We could not risk being seen as manipulators. Your evolution must remain your own." Lisa considered this. There was logic to it, though she still felt the Lyrians had withheld crucial information. "The Vexari have retreated for now," Lisa said. "But they will return, won't they?" Zalia nodded. "They fear what humanity will become. The awakening has begun, but it will take generations to complete. During that time, your people will be vulnerable. The Lyrian Protectorate offers alliance, protection, and guidance. But we will not interfere with your natural development." "And what exactly will we become?" Lisa asked the question that had haunted her since the battle. "What is humanity's potential?" The Lyrian commander touched her crystalline crown. The structures chimed softly. "The universe is more complex than your science, yet understands energy, consciousness, matter, all interconnected. Your species will learn to navigate these connections to shape reality itself. But such power requires wisdom. The Vexari lacked this wisdom and became consumers rather than creators. They fear you will surpass them." Admiral Rivera entered the room, ending their private conversation. "It's time, Commander," he said. "Earth's leadership is assembled." The briefing room had been prepared for the historic meeting. Representatives from all Earth nations sat around a massive table. Scientific, military, and political leaders waited to hear what the Lyrians proposed. Lisa took her place beside Zalia, Grace, and Nicole, flanking them. The three humans were living proof of what cooperation with the Lyrians could bring. Enhanced Abilities accelerated evolution protection from the Vexari, but there would be costs unknowns. Risks Admiral Rivera opened the proceedings. Commander Zalia has requested this summit to discuss a formal alliance between Earth and the Lyrian Protectorate. In light of recent events and the Vexari threat, we have agreed to hear their proposal. Zalia stepped forward, her crystalline crown catching the light creating patterns on the wall behind her. People of Earth, she began. The stars have brought our paths together after millennia of separate evolution. What Captain Carter and her crew demonstrated is merely the beginning of what humanity will achieve. The assembled leaders listened with rapt attention as the Lyrian outlined a future where humans and Lyrians worked together, exploring the galaxy, sharing knowledge, developing their abilities, standing united against threats like the Vexari. When she finished, Rivera asked the question foremost in everyone's mind. And what do the Lyrians gain from this alliance? Zalia looked at Lisa, then back to the Earth leader's companionship. She said simply, "The void between stars is vast and cold. Our species has traveled it alone for too long. Yours brings fresh perspective, creativity, insights we have lost. Over our long existence together, we become more than either could be." Alone, Lisa knew there was more to it than that. The genetic connection between humans and Lyrians suggested a shared history, perhaps even a common creator. But that was a mystery for another day. For now, humanity faced a choice: embrace their connection to these alien women with their advanced technology and promises of awakening, or continue alone, vulnerable to the Vexari and other threats lurking among the stars. The vote was nearly unanimous. Earth would ally with the Lyrians. A new chapter in human history had begun. 6 months later, Lisa stood on the observation deck of the new hybrid vessel Starweaver, the first ship built with combined human and Lyrian technology. She wore the uniform of a fleet captain now responsible for 5 such vessels. Their mission to protect Earth colonies while hunting remaining Vexari outposts. Grace served as her tactical officer, Nicole as chief medical officer. Both had continued, developing their abilities under Lyrian guidance. Xalia entered the observation deck, her crystalline crown chiming softly. "The prototype neural interfaces are ready," she said. "The next generation will allow greater control without physical enhancements." Lisa nodded, watching as Earth grew smaller in the viewport. The planet seemed different now, knowing what she did about humanity's potential, about the abilities awakening across the population. The Vexari had been right to fear humanity, but wrong to try to stop their evolution. The stars await. Captain Zalia said with that gesture that Lisa now knew was definitely a smile. "Shall we begin?" Lisa gave the order, and the Starweaver jumped to faster than light, its human and Lyrian crew working in perfect harmony. The universe suddenly seemed both larger and smaller at the same time, and infinitely more interesting.